Hello and welcome to my new Kerbal Space Program series. I'm going to be doing a new career mode in Real Solar System with virtually every mod I could get working. I have TAC life support, Interstellar Extended, everything from the realism over all suite, but I could not, there was just too many glitches with remote tech, so I had to take it off. But other than that, here we go. Here are the first few launches really quickly. Just super cheap little things to get the science moving. I don't want to risk Jeb's life at this point. Yeehaw. Oh yeah, and this background music really is amazing. I made it on, what's it called now? jukedeck.com. It's like an automated background music creation thing. They use AI to make whatever kind of music you want, and then you can use it royalty free as long as you give them credit. Just going through all these different engines because I have not seen any of them before. This is actually my first real career mode in Real Solar System. Did mess around with it maybe like before I did my last series. Yeehaw. Just a little boost there to get it into the grasslands off the launch pad, and look at that. We're just about ready for a manned mission. I think I was like 1 science point short for that last category there in the 3rd tier. There we go. I'm thinking I gotta get that science. Next science category. Otherwise none of this is even gonna be worth it. So I'm also still have yet to do some high altitude testing. Trying to design this thing to go a little bit further. That probe core I'm using does not give me attitude control, so it's pretty much whatever way it falls, it falls. So I'm trying to really get this thing to be stable. Looks pretty good. Let's see what happens. Oh, she's ripping. But she leaned over too much. That's okay. Might as well get these measly 0.7 science for doing this experiment here again. After this, landings are always tedious with those parachutes. So yeah, that wasn't going to cut it, so I'm going to do something a little more extreme. It's got to really it's got to get up there. Ah, it's better. Too far into space, this thing won't come back. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna hit the edge of the atmosphere. Oh, there it goes. No more air resistance. I got an upper atmosphere experiment with the materials bay, and I got 1 sample of the goo in space. We're going to launch 1 more of these guys with just a little bit extra juice. Get a nice sample of that environment in space, so we can ensure Jeb can survive the harsh conditions when he goes up in the really sketchy first orbiter. Yeah, just a little bit of boosting. Not even gonna put decouplers, I don't think, on those boosters. I just need a little extra kick. Ooh, she's going. Holy moly, she's calling. Surprised that thing didn't explode. I detached a little early there because I'm trying to use the atmospheric drag to slow me down. I want to just barely go out of the atmosphere because I really want this thing to survive re-entry. And it's about as steep of a re-entry as you can get. Yeah, nice solid sample of outer space. Look at that. What a beautiful launch. And with that, we're getting a little bit more science there unlocked. Just gonna do a little quick $5,000 mission here. It doesn't require leaving the pad. We'll start construction on the first actual rocket. Look at that. Here we go. We're going to start designing the first actual rocket. It's going to need battery power, it's going to need a heat shield, so Jeb doesn't suffocate or burn up on the way in. Going to need to bring some science, reaction control, life support, a little additionary battery that I put there, just because I'm thinking probably overkill is better than underkill. Now again, I haven't really played around with this stuff too much, so I'm really getting the feel of how to use the procedural tanks and what the new engines look like and stuff. Takes about 9,000 meters a second of delta V to get into orbit around Earth. And that is if you do it efficiently. So with this low tech tree stuff that I have, it's probably not going to be that efficient, so I'm going to over design it a little bit. I actually did do a little bit of maths on paper, and I wanted to have 12,000 meters a second of delta V to ensure a safety margin of error that was pretty good. But I was not able to get that. I think it was just over 10,000 that this thing ends up having, which is basically just barely enough. I was a little nervous this thing wasn't going to make it. So see, I'm just trying to get into orbit, and I'm already finding that I'm going to have to optimize my staging. Really get every last bit of fuel out, have the right takeoff, or thrust to weight ratio at takeoff and in each stage. You should be aiming for about 1.2 thrust to weight ratio at liftoff, and then approximately a 1 0.0 thrust to weight ratio in your middle stages. That's if you're really trying to squeeze the stuff out. There's reasons you wouldn't want that, but now here I'm going to set up a camera flyby using Cam or whatever it's called. I'm pretty sure that it's outdated. In the newer releases of Kerbal, it's all with the camera tools mod. That looks weird. Play around with it a little. But I didn't really want to spend too much time, so I'm going to call that good enough and enjoy this launch. Jeb survived. Look at that. We can unlock some electronic stuff. Solar panels in particular. That'll make it possible to make satellites. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a satellite to go into polar orbit around the Earth and do a radar scan for us. So we can get some telemetry information and have a nice pretty radar map. I'm going to go with this surveyor core because that's what it's built for apparently, so we're going to use it. Considering putting this big lump of battery, but see if I end up sticking with it. And so I'm gonna go, I don't yet have like a actual proper probe engine, so this is gonna be like a rocket slash satellite. I'm just gonna rely on my amazing piloting skills to get it into a good orbit. I'm not gonna put any fine control stuff. Try and give it a makeshift fairing since I don't have that unlocked yet. Make sure it has the actual radar thing, a way to transmit the data. Now, since this thing is itself a little rocket, it has quite a bit of delta V on its own, so it's only going to probably need one stage to get it out there. Explaining the launch process of this one a little bit more thoroughly than with those little text things, because this is well, a little complicated if you're not good at orbital mechanics and stuff. I'm using these little structural barrel things to launch off of because I'm have not yet unlocked the launch clamps, and it needs to be stable. I don't want to tip over. These are just going to ensure that that thing actually gets the heck out of my way, because I'm going to be tearing through the upper atmosphere this time instead of in space for quite a bit of the journey. Okay, now we're going into a polar orbit. So you don't just want to launch north, because you're going to have an inclination, and this thing is probably not going to have enough fuel to change its inclination. So if you watch carefully at my nav ball, I'm going off at an angle to the northwest. And you look, I keep switching over to see my orbital trajectory, and what I'm trying to do is line up my orbital trajectory with the north. And you have to be careful because you're still in the air, so you have to pay attention to how far off your surface angle you are. And then once your orbital trajectory is aligned with the north, and you want to slowly turn back over so your rocket is actually facing that way, and then you want to get your surface and orbital trajectories to basically line up. You just want to kind of split the difference there, right? Till you're out of the air enough that you can actually be 10 degrees off your rotation. Oh, look at that. I made a critical mistake designing that separation sequence. Luckily, there is a minimal amount of reaction control power, so I gave it a long apoapsis, which we're at the peak of the apoapsis right now. It's a good thing I put in that detachment boosters to get that fairing out of the way. And there we go, rocket's under control. We're gonna have to lean up quite a bit more than we originally thought, but that's okay. This thing definitely has 3,000 extra meters a second delta V than what it needs. Look at that, hey, coming up to the Great Lakes. It would be nice if I could run this at max texture, but it's just a little bit too laggy. All this footage is at 8 times time acceleration. So it took me quite a bit longer to record than it did for you to watch. And look at that, I have arrested my vertical speed, just getting the last little bit of horizontal momentum I need, and that's pretty much a circular orbit. I just kind of screwed it up a bit. This thing has a very high thrust weight ratio right now and no throttle control, so it's not going to be perfect. There we go, we're lining it up, and persistent motion or persistent rotation is going to let us take a nice visual scan of the planet there. Look at that, just scanning it off the coast of Africa. Oh, look at that, I'm coming back up over near Florida where I launched from. Transmit the data down to them, and oh, look at that. We got quite a bit of the planet in a couple orbits. Well, that was nice. I think we're going to try and kick it up a notch now. I need to unlock more parts in the VAB, so I just took a whole bunch of missions that I'm gonna, I guess, have to do. But now that we have the VAB upgraded for the first time, I'm gonna start considering a lunar probe, and it ends up taking me quite a while to actually get it designed. Oh yeah, that was just a quick little mission, that another one of those $5,000 missions. I just wanted to get it out of the way. I was trying to be sneaky here and use these engines that I didn't have actually unlocked yet, but I got them in that mission that I just did to test, and it actually doesn't let me use them, so I just kind of waste my time here playing with it. And yeah, I try one more time, it just won't let me launch it. I was originally thinking I was going to use these RCS thrusters to get some momentum out of, but I actually ended up doing the math to find out, you know, what delta V I'd get out of those and what it would take, because of course engineering wouldn't give me a report on it and the RCS aid wasn't helping me. So after I calculated it, I found out it would take me 100 or 300 minutes to empty that tank. So yeah, it was not practical, and I ended up going with a different option for the final stage. This thing is just going to low lunar orbit, and it is going to take me every single bit I can fit on it at my tech level. I still have the 140-ton mass limit. Let's see, I'm really just trying to optimize each stage. Has to be 100% optimized. Real solar system is a lot more difficult. I think with this tech level I could already explore every single square inch of Minimus, and probably even the Mun if I tried to. So you may recognize this design that I have started here. It's kind of the Delta Heavy looking thing. Of course, it has significantly less payload capacity than the actual Delta Heavy. This thing's a lot lighter, a lot shorter, and a lot less complicated. yeah, I'm quickly about to realize that that engine can only be used as first stage. And while I like the look of those radial engines, they just don't have the efficiency I was looking for. My first stage engines are hydrogen. They're actually supposed to be vacuum engines, but at my tech level they have one of the higher thrusts. And I do not intend to spend much time in the inner atmosphere, and I intend for those tanks to burn for quite a long time, as far as first stages are usually concerned. So they will be getting most of their operation in the upper atmosphere anyway. It's really important to know what your launch profile is going to be like when you're designing stuff in real solar system. So you can't exactly just boost yourself up out of the air and then all of a sudden get 7,000 meters a second horizontal velocity. In Kerbal, it's not too bad to, or around Kerbin, it's not too bad to get the 2,000 that it's required for orbiting. But around Earth, it's 2.5 times harder or so. Okay, I've settled on an engine that can relight multiple times for my upper stage. And I think I have 15 lights in that final probe engine. To be honest, I probably could have went for something with a bit higher efficiency, but I wanted to be on the, I wanted to have extra maneuvers available because I don't have maneuver node planning unlocked yet. And it's a long way to go when you're eyeballing it. Starting to see, I'm just really trying to optimize to get every single meter per second I can out of this thing. Right up to the tonnage limit. Looks good to me. So now I'm going to design a little bit less crappy of a camera pan in than I did for the last launch. This thing's going to the moon and it's not going to have enough velocity to change its inclination, so it's probably going to end up being a nighttime launch. You see, these camera tools are not exactly too user-friendly, but it's not difficult to use, it just takes a little bit of messing around with to get it set up. It's kind of easy to get the camera outside of the world. I won't be showing all this crap throughout the entire series, but I just thought it would be a good addition to the first episode to show how it's actually done. At least just a little quick, even if it's just a little quick view of it. Yeah, look at that. That's looking a little better. Okay, enjoy this launch. I'll explain a little bit through message or through text like I did the last time and play some music.